Foundation for Greater New Haven. So we'll be hearing from different nonprofits today. Please visit thegreatgive.org. Don't forget the in the Great Give to donate to any and all of the groups who are presenting here today, who are all working hard to make our community a better place. I'm very excited to have today Joyce Light, who is the Executive Director of the Connecticut Audubon Society. And I think to start off, I would love to hear the poem or song that you brought with you today to kind of encapsulate, something about what the Connecticut Audubon Society does.
Well, thank you. We thought that Bob Marley said it really well. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little birds pitched by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true, singing, this is my message to you. Bird migration. May is here, and the birds are flying through, more than 1 million birds a night, and Connecticut Audubon Society is all about protecting those birds and other wildlife throughout the state.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's a beautiful song. I don't think I've ever really listened to the words with a lot of attention before. So could you tell us a little bit about Connecticut Audubon Society's role in protecting the birds in our state?
Sure. So we are very active across the state, but in particular in the New Haven area, which is what we're raising funds for through the Great Give for. We serve school children. We educate them about birds and other wildlife and just nature in general. More than 3,000 school children in Greater New Haven and the Valley regions are served annually. But then conservation, the most successful breeding beach for piping plovers is at our coastal center at Milford Point. If everyone hasn't been there, they should come on down and see it. Tonight we're actually doing a sunset sip to help celebrate the Great Give. So we're inviting everybody to come on down and join us for a sunset sip at the coastal center.
Okay, amazing. And I'm sorry, what was that species that you mentioned just now?
Piping plovers. So they're shorebirds. They're vulnerable shorebirds. They're threatened, and they are these tiny little puffballs that you barely see on the beach, but we have to share the beach with them. So we have staff as well as hundreds of volunteers that go out to protect these birds, as well as all the other shorebird breeding birds on the shorebirds, American oyster catchers, and least terns. We're definitely trying to make sure that these birds are successful. They require our help in breeding successfully, and Milford Point has been the most successful breeding location. So we're thrilled about that.
I'm really curious how you got into this line of work, into this, bird field. I think birds are something that so many of us take for granted in our day-to-day life as just kind of part of the background. I'm curious how you came to this work.
I think, I grew up in an area where I had a lot of nature around me, and so birds were very common for me to see and hear. But just in general, I'm very concerned about the connection between our health and nature. So that's kind of how I've kind of worked my way through the career. But I was mostly introduced through development and administration in nonprofits, and I'm thrilled to be leading the Connecticut Audubon Society as we're in our 127th year, and we're headed into the next century. And I think we've got a really great story to tell, and we've been dedicated for education and conservation and habitat management for the course of our entire history.
Is there a moment that you remember that you had with a bird, or maybe a moment that you were trying to sort of impart to someone who doesn't feel that connection necessarily with bird species?
We have the best story, particularly from Milford Point. So we had this mother bird, American oyster catcher. Storm came in. Her nest was getting flooded. She sat on her eggs through the storm. The chicks hatched. Chick got entangled in fishing line, which we encourage all fishermen to please collect your fish line and put it in a bin and don't leave it because it really is dangerous for birds. Got entangled. We had to rescue the bird. So we and our partners rescued the bird, tagged the bird. Bird was then noted down in Florida, seen in Florida, and has been back the past 2 years, is back again this year and trying to breed on the Milford Beach.
Wow. So
5 years later,
you were able to track that
success.
Bird.
We can track that bird. Yes, it's tagged and we know its number. And so when we see the bird with the band, we can read the number and we know that it's the bird that was hatched at Milford and it's back breeding again.
Yeah. And I guess for maybe just taking this particular example, what what is the impact of that one bird and that one bird's family on the broader ecosystem? How are they connected?
Well, everything is a big web. And so all of these birds along the shoreline, they're connected to the success of Long Island Sound. So we look at the birds as kind of the canary in the coal mine of, if these birds are struggling, our environment is struggling, and there's something else happening, and we need to pay attention to that. So that ties into everything that we do across our organization. We're always looking at what songbirds are having issues, as well as what shorebirds are having issues. Our focus from our founder was really about focusing on bird species and habitat diversity maintenance in the state of Connecticut, and that's really what we look at. So if the birds are struggling, there's something else happening, and we need to be paying attention.
Yeah, I guess canary in the coal mine is so literal here.
It is literal.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you would like to say, would like people to know about the Connecticut Audubon Society?
Well, there's a couple of really fun things that we're doing. So the month of May is our Migration Magic event, where we're celebrating migration all throughout the state. Visit our centers, check out our website for events and activities and programs that really help introduce everybody to the joy of birds and nature. And then on June 21st, we're participating in an International Day of Song, where it's going to be 8 countries across 3 continents, all singing together in a 1.5-hour period of time. And our location, which was the first songbird sanctuary in the country, was selected as the only U.S. location to be participating in this live stream event.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why I'm excited to hear that when it comes out. What date was that?
June 21st. It's in the afternoon.
Okay.
It's free. We invite everybody, come down. It's a choral event, so everyone come down, sing your hearts out.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
And best of luck with this great give.
Thank you so much.
Of course. So you are... Okay. You are listening to The Great Give. It's our radiothon on WNHH FM. So we are spending our time, during this 36-hour event fundraiser organized by the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, spotlighting some of the nonprofits that bring so much beauty and joy and important resources to our community. A side note, if the spirit moves you, you can also donate to keep this nonprofit radio station and the New Haven Independent going. You can go to thegreatgive.org, so that's thegreatgive.org, and search for New Haven Independent or the Online Journalism Project. But yes, and thank you so much to the Connecticut Audubon Society. You can also donate to them, of course, at thegreatgive.org.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Hello and welcome back to the Great Give Radiothon on WNHH FM, your home for community radio. Shout out to Harry Droz, who is showing me how to do this and keeping this running, the whole time. So we are, for today and tomorrow, highlighting some of the nonprofits that help keep our community fed, keep our community ticking during times of need, and also bringing joy and light to our community. And who better to have than a representative of the New Haven Pride Center? We have Lou Perno here to talk about the Pride Center, and also hopefully to share a song or a poem if you've brought one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe do you want to kick it off with the song or the poem?
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for inviting me, representing the New Haven Pride Center here in New Haven. And my little poem is, I'm here to tell you about my pie in the sky, an agency called the New Haven Pride. LGBT people we serve in so many ways, from a food pantry, clothes closet, to spaces to play, along with support groups, educational and enrichment programs too, to advocacy and giving people resources to help what they do. We provide art exhibits, craft nights, and performance events, as well as the New Haven Pride event with activities under many tents. We empower LGBTQ people to not just survive, to make all feel accepted and want to thrive. Our center is on 50 Orange Street in the 9th Square of downtown New Haven. You must get the opportunity to go there. We are a nonprofit center always needing to raise funds. It's the 2025 Great Give. Help us raise some. We want to raise $10,000 or more. Make my pie in the sky seem like nothing to score. Thank you for your support, and I'm glad to be here today so I can tell my story some more.
Amazing. Did you write that?
Yes, I did.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, it sounded like you were prompting, further storytelling. So I'm just going to leave that open to you if there's anything in particular that comes to mind that you want to talk about.
Well, I think one of the things I'd like to really point out is I didn't know a lot about the Pride Center prior to starting to volunteer there. Right after Labor Day, I was volunteered a couple days a week, got on their board, and then the former director Juan Carlos Soto resigned in April, and I was appointed interim executive director. And I was amazed to learn about the scope of services that the Pride Center does provide for LGBT people in Greater New Haven, and I don't think everyone knows that. From our food pantry, and our food pantry and our hygiene wall. I mean, last year alone, we serviced 250 households a month. And for those programs, anybody can come and use those services. Support groups for young people in the afternoon hours, in the evening. We have a fabulous mentoring program where we assign mentors, adult mentors, to young people who are from the LGBT community and need someone to talk to and to feel accepted, and that's a big part of what we do, along with many collaborative activities with other organizations, interfaith volunteers, the desk, Downtown Evening Soup Kitchen, AIDS Project New Haven, a number of organizations. So if anything I have to say is people need to really learn more about what we do there, because I don't think everyone really realizes the full scope of what the service provides. And they need to come down to our new site, which is once again 50 Orange Street. It's the old art space. It reminds me of a community center, which is what my background was for many years. So I think if they can come down to the center, I think they'd really be delighted to see what a welcoming organization we are.
It's a really beautiful space. There's so much light. There's a lot of art by community members. So definitely, it's wonderful. You mentioned in your poem, I heard the rhyme survive and thrive, and I was wondering if you could talk about those two different goals, because you mentioned there's food pantries. I know you all have a clothes closet. There's some basic needs provision that you all provide to community members, and then there's also the Thrive portion of the work that you do.
Yeah, we, first of all, in order for individuals to use all of our services and to thrive from those services and grow even further, we do realize that many people that we see need their basic needs met first, and that's why we provide the food pantry, the clothes closet, and the hygiene wall. Once people get to see the center and they learn about the many programs, they may join a support group. They may come for some of our other events, and they start feeling much better about themselves, and feel really confident more so about themselves. And I think that's where the Thrive comes in. Where, certainly giving people food helps them survive, but we believe that after they truly get involved in everything that we do, they thrive and they grow, and many of them come back and volunteer for us and help with our food pantry and things of that nature. So that's why it's more than surviving; it's really thriving in the end, and being able to move forward in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of community members may not necessarily have the support systems or the people in their lives to help them get to that place of thriving, as they are being fully accepted.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially young people.
Yeah. I know that I just can imagine that this is a very crazy time to take on this new role for you. I'm curious, with the Trump administration, with rises in, hate and accompanying mental health challenges and fears in the community, I'm curious how you see the Pride Center playing a role there.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly with what's going on nationally, it's a scary time for us, and particularly LGBTQ organizations, in many reasons. If you know many of the actions that the administration have taken, so our challenge is greater in raising funds, and so we have to look for new areas where we have to get funding from. More to the state, and the state has been wonderful. And I will say also, the city of New Haven has been a wonderful ally to the New Haven Pride Center in supporting us financially, but also supporting us in making people realize that because of the New Haven Pride Center being a greater in New Haven, that New Haven truly is a community that's accepting of all people.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to add about the role that the Pride Center plays in this community, and what's your pitch to people for Great Give?
Yeah, we're the only Pride Center in Greater New Haven, and the only Pride Center that offers the importance of art. And we'll be having an art exhibit on May 17th when we're having a bazaar. It's called our Hella Queer Bazaar, and it's at the center, and at the same time we will be having artwork on display. And people don't know that, and we're one of many Pride Centers in the state of Connecticut, and that's one thing that I was really amazed when I started getting involved in the center. I didn't realize that. I thought we were one of a few, but there are, and we work very closely. Friday evening, we're going to a networking event at the Bridgeport Pride Center with other directors from other Pride Centers. But I believe we may be one of the longest. We've been around for almost 29 years, always in New Haven. But I think because we are the only Pride Center in New Haven, I think the city of New Haven and the state recognize that.
Yeah. I know that you're relatively new to this role as, interim director, but I'm curious, so far, has there been a moment that sticks out to you that kind of reminded you, okay, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is why we are doing what we're doing.
Yeah, one, it's, seeing the people that come in and we service through our food pantry and them walking out and really can't thank us enough. And that's so rewarding for us. And we've had one night we had an individual call, needed services, a young person, he had come out and his family, and he needed a place to live, and we helped them find a place through various resources. So, and that was really something to really hit at home for me. I'm a social worker; that's my background. So,
yeah, absolutely.
When I heard that, and the fact that we're truly a resource center. We'll provide anyone resources for housing, resources for other food pantries and things of that nature. So yeah, I've been impressed and I've enjoyed the opportunity and proud to be the interim executive director at this point, because of what the organization means to me personally, but also to the greater New Haven community.
Okay, wonderful. Anything else that you want to add? I know I could probably talk
support us through the Great Give, and once again, this is a challenging time for all nonprofits. So, I wish all nonprofits the best in with this campaign. And but if you want to contribute to the New Haven Pride Center in downtown New Haven.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So that was Lou Perno from the New Haven Pride Center, which is one of many organizations raising money as part of the Great Give through the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven. Please visit thegreatgive.org, thegreatgive.org, to donate to the New Haven Pride Center. While you're at it, if you would like to, you can donate to WNHH, this radio station, the New Haven Independent, and the Valley Independent Sentinel. We're under the Online Journalism Project if you want to keep local journalism alive as well. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the Great Give Radiothon on WNHH FM, your home for community radio. We are highlighting some of the hardest working nonprofits in New Haven and the greater New Haven area who are raising money over 36 hours today and tomorrow in this event called The Great Give, organized by the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven. So please visit thegreatgive.org. Don't forget thegreatgive.org. To donate to any of the organizations that we're going to be hearing from today. And right now, we're very lucky to have Tisha Tramontano Kelly. Did I say that correctly?
You did. I'm
Okay.
impressed.
So she is the executive director for CFAL for Digital Inclusion. And I hear that you may have a song or a poem for us.
I do have a poem.
Okay.
I would never
amazing.
sing. I would never do that. No way. So this is F. Scott Fitzgerald. For what it's worth, it's never too late, or in my case, too early to be whoever you want to be. There's no time limit. Start whenever you want. You can change or start or stay the same. There are no rules to this thing. We can make the best or the worst of it. I hope you make the best of it. I hope you see things that startle you. I hope you feel things you've never felt before. I hope you meet people who have a different point of view. I hope you live a life you're proud of, and if you're not, I hope you find the courage to start over again.
Wow. That was really beautiful.
Yeah. I like that.
I'm
Yeah.
curious why you chose that one to bring today.
Because I just think people need to know you could just change and make a difference, and make a change in your own life, make a difference in somebody else's life. So I think it's relevant.
Yeah, and I know that CFAL for Digital Inclusion, you all help people develop computers and literacy skills, technology literacy skills. That seems somewhat related to, it's never too late to learn.
Right.
I'm curious, do you encounter that feeling from some of the people that your organization gets to work with of, I feel kind of embarrassed that I haven't learned how to use a computer yet?
All the time. We
Yeah.
get some people in who don't know how to use a mouse correctly.
Yeah.
So, I think that's the assumption in today's society, is that everyone knows how to work a computer. Everyone knows how, and everyone has a computer, and that everyone has affordable and reliable internet in their home.
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
Yeah.
And that needs to change.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I work for an online newspaper. We encounter people all the time who aren't able to read the articles that they are quoted in.
Right.
So definitely, I think it surprises me sometimes how common it is, because in my own little bubble, everyone I know is on the internet, but there's so many people who are not.
They're not. It's not affordable to everybody. 90% of the people that we work with do not have a working computer in the home. And we also help people find affordable and reliable internet as well. And I think people just make that assumption, and it's wrong. And we're trying to change that and give people the opportunities, because imagine your life right now if you did not have your phone or internet or a computer at home. Everything, our doctor's appointments, our medicine, our, just finding resources, applying and looking for jobs, everything is online now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious, could you tell me a little bit about the different groups of people that you work with through your organization?
So I'll start with the youngest. So we'll do like 3rd through 8th grade, and that is like coding and robotics and the fun stuff. But they're also learning a lot, because we're teaching them how to work together. It's partnerships and teamwork. So they're learning as they're going, and all of our programs are free. So that is also another great opportunity. And that's why fundraising is so important to us, so we can keep everything for free. And then we have a high school age program that's exploring technology for teens. And those are the teens who just are really into it and they want to know more. They'll take a computer apart, put it back together, learn all about a computer. And then we have our adult programs. So we have a Foundation to a Career in Computers. That's for 18 to 26-year-olds, and that's just what it sounds like. And they learn about all the different aspects of working in IT, and that's a 6-week program. And then we have our Introduction to Computer Literacy, and that's for 18 and over. And they also just learn everything, the basics about a computer. And then we have some drop-in classes too. So if they want to learn more about Canva or Excel and spreadsheets and things like that. But everything we do is free. And then the other thing we do is we'll work with organizations. They can donate. So say you guys here are upgrading your computers. You can donate your computers to us. We'll wipe the hard drives, give you a certificate of destruction so you know they've been wiped. Then we refurbish them, put Microsoft Office on them, and then give them to families who don't have a computer in the home.
I had no idea. That's so good to know.
So this past year alone, we've given close to 300 computers to people in the greater New Haven area.
Okay, wow. Yeah, I'm curious if there's a person that you've worked with. You don't have to obviously go into any details, but a moment, an interaction that sticks out to you as something that motivates you to continue doing this work?
Oh, absolutely. I just helped open a class because we partner with a lot of local organizations, and I went and helped open a class with some of their instructors. And there was probably about 13 people in the class, and 8 of them were homeless. So 20% of our clients are homeless, which is another thing that, we try to help with laptops and things like that because they're in transient housing. And you can tell that when they're filling out the registration forms that they're shy about that, letting us know that. And we don't treat them any differently than anybody else. And you could almost see the weight lifted off their shoulders that they're welcome. Everyone is welcome in our program. It doesn't matter what your background is or where you're living or where you're coming from. Everyone's welcome because they're just trying to do better.
Yeah, and I can imagine if you're looking for housing or trying to find a job, you kind of need those skills.
Yep.
To be online, use a computer, have access to a computer and internet.
And also to recognize scams.
Oh,
that's
huge. I feel like I need that class.
I know. Everyone does because they're getting better. So that's another thing that we touch on. And we're also touching on AI now because that's kind of the it thing right now. So we're adding that into some of our classes and just making people realize what it is and how it can help you and how it cannot help you in certain ways as well.
Yeah, I feel like we probably need a mass class on that as a society. It's something we're all trying to figure out.
A lot of people do. Yep.
Yeah. Amazing. I'm sorry. I'm just going to check our time. I'm curious if there's anything else that you want people to know about the work that you all do at CFAL.
I think what I'd like people to know is that the need is really out there and what digital equity and digital inclusion can do. And organizations and businesses are losing out on really potential great staffing that they can have just because they don't have the same opportunities. So we're trying to change that. And we're a very small grassroots nonprofit. So, any kind of donation helps, any amount, because it's going to go to, us helping the kids and buying robots for the robotics and coding and refurbishing the laptops and things like that. So, I would say most of the donations, 90% of it go to programming because our programming is the staffing because we're one-on-one with people and we try to keep the classes small so that people can get as much help as they need.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think we do have a little bit more time. So I'm wondering, maybe is there a moment from the robotics class or some of the work that you all do with young people?
Oh, they love it. Honestly, if a summer camp robotics class, they run in the thousands of dollars. So we're giving the opportunity to kids who may not otherwise have that to have that coding and robotics. And, they love making the robots dance, and then we'll put disco music on and, we have some videos and the kids just have a blast and because they may not have that opportunity.
Are they building the robots? Are they coding? They're
Both.
doing both. Okay. Wow.
Yes, both.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yep. They're building, coding and making projects and working together. And it's great. I think one of the things I love seeing is some of the kids who may have a little bit more experience or knowledge helping the kids organically on their own without us having to do any prompting, helping the other kids. And that's just great to see.
Yeah. I mean, your poem that you brought is making me think about learning how to learn and learning how to be open to those new experiences that maybe seem a bit scary or daunting. So that does seem
and not be afraid to say, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
And just ask for that help and make that change.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having
me. This spirit to the studio.
No, I love that you guys do this. This is amazing. What the Community Foundation does is amazing. New Haven has amazing nonprofits.
Yes, absolutely. That's definitely a takeaway of today. And one of those amazing nonprofits is CFAL for Digital Inclusion. So thank you so much, Tisha, for coming today and presenting.
Thanks.
So you are listening to the Great Give Radiothon on WNHH FM, your home for community radio. You can visit thegreatgive.org to give to CFAL for Digital Inclusion as part of the Community Foundation's Great Give fundraiser for 36 hours. If you are there and you happen to feel like it, you're also welcome to give to the Online Journalism Project, which funds this radio station, the New Haven Independent, the Valley Independent Sentinel, and a whole bunch of other local news initiatives. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right. Hello, everyone. You are listening to the Great Gift Radiothon on WNHH FM, your home for community radio. As you know, we are spending our today and tomorrow highlighting some of the wonderful nonprofits in the greater New Haven area who work really hard to bring art, culture, important services to our community. And today we're so excited to have Marian Harmuth from the Madison Historical Society to tell us a little bit about what you do. But first, I hear that you have brought a poem for us to hear.
Yes,
So,
I did, and thank you for having me.
of course.
This is called Tips from the Salt Shaker, and it's by Grace Minor Lippincott, and she's like our poet laureate of Madison,
Oh,
and so I thought it would be appropriate to bring something.
yeah.
So it goes like this. If you should live in Madison, a village on the Sound, let me give you a kindly tip before you get around. Through Hammonasset over east are Dudleys by the score, with Willard Stouds and Chittendens along the central shore. Then Bassett, Bishop, Lee & Co. that reach the West Wharf Road. The Smiths parading in a row call Elm Street their abode. They're scattered all about the town, the Mungers, Redfields, Leets, with Wilcoxes both up and down the length of village streets. Then Field and Griswold, Hill and Hull, with Kelsey's, Meggs, and Stevens, and Norton, Stones, and Parmalees near Wattresses and Whedons, while Buell, Crampton, Evans clan are represented to a man. The Bushnells and the Scranton Guard lived early years in town and called each other yard to yard, from doorways up and down.
Mm.
The town has grown and many names are listed in the news, but those of early township fame are locally who's who. So that's just one of, I think Grace wrote maybe 10 different books of poetry. And in Madison, we have some special artists, not just poets. We have artists, all different things that maybe people don't know. We actually were part of Guilford at one time. And in 1826, which will be 200 years next year, we'll be celebrating our 200th year as Madison. But we did start out part of the Guilford community.
Well, thank you so much for that beautiful poem. I feel like you gave us like a little map of Madison in some ways, and also for bringing us right there to the history of this town. I'm curious what brought you to the Historical Society in this career. What kind of motivated you to pursue this line of work?
Well, actually, I'm a teacher by occupation, and I taught for many years, and I worked in the Madison school systems as support staff. I had taught years before I had my children and all that. So, and just going to some of the local Madison historical sites with classrooms over the years. And I sort of got a taste of, Madison has a lot more history than maybe I thought. So when I retired, I just decided, someone said, would you like to be on our board? And I thought, great. So they needed someone who was going to do education. And so I kind of flipped sides, and now I was helping put together education programs for Madison schools and schools in Madison. So that's kind of how I got into the whole historical society at that time.
That makes a lot of sense. I can see that connection. I'm curious if there's a historical fact or a piece of Madison's history that either is like most compelling to you or something that you think people don't tend to know about that you want more people to know about.
Well, we do have a lot of history, and actually that poem, the reason I picked it was because all those names are still there in Madison, and they're streets names for all these people, and it's just a huge part of the town. We're like a small, shoreline town that has a lot of history. We like to share our history. That's part of our mission, is to help preserve the past and then share those stories. We're agricultural, shipbuilding town to start with, and fishing. And so a lot of these people that we talked about, Grace Minor Lippincott's great-grandfather and grandfather were shipbuilders in one of the more successful shipyards in Madison down at East Wharf Beach. So, and they produced about 75 wooden sailboats. So Madison was a big shipbuilding town. I think a lot of people don't know that we actually were, once you had enough food for yourselves, we went into the trading, and we did the ships that were built to trade along the eastern seaboard.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I had no idea. So I was looking at, I unfortunately have not been to the Madison Historical Society yet. But I was looking online and saw that you all have plenty of exhibitions, and that you have these historic buildings that you operate out of and help preserve. So I'm wondering if you could talk about some of those spaces.
Right. So we have two main buildings. We have the Alice Bushnell House, the Alices and the Bushnells. It was built by a Blatchley and a Scranton. So a lot of the names that you heard. It's our museum, our house museum. We don't have a lot of original furniture in there, but the house itself was built in 1765, and it's basically our museum house. We have a lot of artwork. We also have rotating exhibits. We try to do every couple of months to bring something new in. So each of the rooms sort of represent a time period of Madison history, colonial into the federal period, the Victorian. We had a tea room operated out of the house at one point. So there's a lot of history just in the perimeter of the house, and then we try to take our collection and bring that collection to life by having different exhibits. So we're open now every first and third Saturday. And actually this summer we're very excited. We are going to try and have a summer market on the back lawn.
That's exciting.
And also to highlight local artisans. So we're just getting that started, and we hope people will see the house. We have a maritime exhibit that we just worked with Connecticut Humanities 2 years ago and put a shipbuilding exhibit in one of our buildings. We call it the Annex Building. That's part of the Alice Bushnell House. We also have the Lee Academy, which was built by Captain Frederick Lee, who we sort of considered the father of Madison. He was a cutter ship captain, then which became the Coast Guard. Then he became a prominent resident of Madison. He helped build Lee Academy, which is the historic building that is on the green now. It's moved four or five times. Our office is upstairs. We have a new, our downstairs is a new section called the Madison Center for History and Culture. And we have exhibits in there, but it's a flex space. We have meetings. We have school programs in there. But we're also, again, trying to take our collection and get it out to the public to see. And I think it's kind of an exciting place. And it's right off the Madison Green. So it's very central to where a lot of people in Madison will congregate by Town Memorial Hall, places like that, downtown Madison. So that's another space we have. We also own a cemetery in Guilford.
Oh.
It's a smallpox burying ground, and it's in Guilford. It was donated to us by someone who lived in Madison, well, probably Guilford, Madison, and it was.
And those are people who had smallpox?
Yes,
wow.
yes, they were Ichabod Scranton, who was from East Guilford at the time, but he and his troops that came down from the French and Indian War came down along the East River and ended up there with smallpox, and that area on the East River is designated as their burying ground. We don't really, we haven't quite found, but we do have a marker there because we're pretty sure there was a pox house there in Guilford. So it's a piece of property that we think is pretty special in in Madison and Guilford history.
Thank you so much. Thanks for diving, into the details of the various physical places that you all maintain. I'm wondering if maybe we can take one moment to kind of zoom out. I may be asking this just for myself, but I am a news reporter. I think I spend a lot of time thinking about the present day, the day to day. What's news, what's breaking, and I always find that when I encounter a piece of more information about the history of something that I see in my day to day life, my town, my city, a block that I live on. It gives me a slightly new perspective on where I live, and I'm trying to pinpoint what that is. I'm curious, why do you think it's important for us to be aware of the history of where we live?
I think wherever people live, it's important. I mean, I've lived in a number of different places, but I think it tells the story of where we all came from. Whether you started there, I mean, I didn't come to Madison until 1985, but it's home to me now, and I just feel like, and maybe because I love history and realizing that the American Revolution really did take place in and around the Madison, Connecticut shoreline was a great part of the American Revolution. So I think that's kind of important. And I think it's important for school children to know. One of the programs that we do, it's upcoming. It's a Memorial Day program, and I do it with Madison Public Schools, and we're sort of proud of it because this is our 5th year of doing it, and we bring 5th graders in, and we have 7th and 8th graders that are the storytellers, and we have selected grave sites from the different wars that have happened, Madison residents, Guilford residents that were in the American Revolution, the Civil War, World War I, II, all of that. And these are wars that in 1st through 5th grade, they would have studied about. And so we try to make the connection that real people from Madison and Guilford served in these wars. And it's sort of a student to student. We love the fact that we have 7th graders teaching 5th graders. And we teach them about the cemetery. They learn how to clean a headstone. And I think it's exciting. And we hope that they leave with some knowledge of that these were people that really did live who are here buried, and we have to thank them for their service.
Yeah, it sounds like there's sort of a sense of connection to different generations and to this broader picture of where we're from. Well, thank you so much, Mary Ann Harmouth, for coming and telling us about the Madison Historical Society. If listeners are interested in donating to the Madison Madison Historical Society. You can go to thegreatgive.org and look up that organization, along with the many other organizations that we are spotlighting here on WNHH-FM. If you would like to, you're also welcome to donate to the Online Journalism Project, which keeps this radio station alive, as well as the New Haven Independent, the Valley Independent Sentinel, and a few other local news projects. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Really nice to meet you.